Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the Secretary of State's office is preparing for another legal battle with the Trump administration amid mail-in voting restrictions.
We'll have the story coming up, plus we'll learn about local resources here in Penobscot County for those going through postpartum.
And yet another heads up for drivers traveling through Old Town today. We'll have the details coming up. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Those are just a few of the stories we'll have for you over the hour ahead. Hope you're having a nice morning. Hope you're having a nice morning too.
I'm a little tired this morning, I can't lie.
Me too. Yeah, a little sleepy out there today, but
it'll be a nice day though.
It's going to be nice. Lots of sunshine today and temperatures getting up into the 80s, low 80s. Nice. So it should be nice and comfy.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have a small area in parts of Washington County under a dense fog advisory, and that will last until about 9 a.m. later on this morning. Some reduced visibility occurring in those areas, and we can see that right there with the observations, definitely down to about a half mile or less, so definitely be careful if you are traveling in these areas. Everyone else looking really good as we do start things off this morning. Meanwhile, again, we had some rain yesterday as it tracks off to the east, so we are now done with the rainfall, and it is going to be a beautiful day out there with lots of sunshine, and it's going to be awesome. So get outside and really enjoy the nice weather that we do have with high pressure now moving in from the southwest and going toward the north and east, and it is going to be hanging around for a little while. So futurecast pushing forward, we're losing the fog, lots of sunshine, a few clouds out there, but not a big deal, with more fog and some clouds on the way later on tonight. Your hourly forecast pushing forward, here's what we have. Lots of sunshine with temperatures warming into the low 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa?
Looks fantastic. Thank you, Devin. Well, the future of a Bangor medical provider remains unclear this morning because of financial issues.
Penobscot Community Healthcare says it's facing serious financial pressure and needs to come up with the money to keep the organization going. Our Callie Warren has the details.
Around 50,000 Mainers currently receive care at Penobscot Community Health Center, and now they're facing an uncertain future. According to PCHC CEO and President Lori Dwyer, the company is facing some serious financial setbacks.
Dwyer released an op-ed to local newspapers Tuesday, saying the financial future of PCHC is at serious risk. She's highlighting the cuts the company has already made in the face of ongoing financial strife and says the system is now in crisis. In that op-ed, she said in part, quote, "Federal and state funding have been delayed, underfunded, or cut. Millions of earned dollars was not distributed to PCHC by a former ACO partner. The financial toll of pandemic-era provider turnover lingers. Costs have skyrocketed while reimbursement for preventative care lags way below the cost of care. Each pressure on its own might be survivable. Together, they've become a crisis. We haven't waited to act or ignored the signs. We are preparing for every contingency, including Chapter 11 restructuring, if our turnaround efforts fall short." End quote. She adds that many patients are on main care or don't have insurance. Some are lower income families, and PCHC supplies care regardless of someone's ability to pay.
Dwyer is saying that there are, quote, weeks, not months, to get this right, and that folks at PCHC are continuing talks with state leaders to try to obtain some of those much-needed funds as soon as possible. This is remaining a developing story, and we will continue to follow it. In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bello says the office is preparing for another courtroom battle with the Trump administration.
Well, this comes after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled the president could begin carrying out parts of an executive order intended to restrict mail-in voting. Our Grace Blanchard with that story.
State officials are resisting President Trump's push to curb mail-in voting after the Supreme Court issued an unsigned emergency order on Monday. It said the president could proceed with implementing an executive order that directs the U.S. Postal Service to help decide which voters should receive mail-in ballots.
We know here in Maine that over 200,000 people annually in a big election year like this will use absentee voting and mail-in voting.
According to Maine Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, the decision currently has no impact on voters, as a separate lawsuit and injunction is in place that prohibits the Trump administration from moving forward.
We are already preparing to go back to court because it is the states, not the federal government, that are in charge of elections. We disagree with the idea that the Postal Service should be able to create a national database to pre-approve voters who are voting by mail.
Maine is involved in several multi-state lawsuits that attempt to block federal directives on voter registration databases and mail-in voting procedures.
With all of these lawsuits, there's a great deal of coordination among the states, red states as well as blue states, who are standing up to say to the federal government, it is the states that are in charge of our elections under the Constitution. We've always had free, safe, and secure elections, and it's the voters who should decide what happens in November, not the president.
Bellows said the office plans to file legal action this week. Grace Blanchard reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, in other news, yesterday marked 70 days until the midterm election and the deadline for finalizing the ballot. Anyone who would like to be a declared write-in candidate had to submit applications in person by 5 p.m. yesterday. According to the Secretary of State's office, 16 declared write-in candidates have qualified for the general election. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows says the state expects to see high voter turnout and plans to bring in additional resources should a race go to ranked choice tabulation.
We are here to say that Maine is on track to have another safe and secure election like we always do, and we are aiming to be first in the nation in voter turnout like we were in 2022. And so voters should feel very confident and very proud of our systems. And anyone who attacks them based on lies or misinformation or threats has an ulterior motive, that they're scared about election outcomes and they're trying to manipulate people's fears to bring about chaos and scare people away from voting.
Well, now that the ballots are finalized, the office will now move forward with production and distribution. Voting officially starts 45 days before the election for military and overseas voters.
And in other news, police are still looking for 2 suspects potentially armed and dangerous in southern Maine. Police say they tried to stop a car around 1 on Tuesday morning near the corner of Shaw and Lebanon Streets in Sanford, when they say that someone in the car fired at an officer in their cruiser. No one was hurt. The car took off and was eventually found abandoned at the McKeon Environmental Reserve. The hiking area covers more than 100 acres and includes about 2.5 miles of walking trails. No officers were hurt when the shots were fired, and police tell us that the 2 suspects are still out on the loose. Around 3 Tuesday afternoon, members of the Boston Division of the FBI showed up on scene and are assisting the Sanford police in that search. There was also a helicopter searching above the woods, along with canine teams searching the area. We are told police are now spread out across southern Maine looking for any leads.
The more time that went by, I assume that the suspects have gone far. Definitely going to lock my door when I get home.
Police say that people in the area should remain alert and report any suspicious activity.
A Brewer man got an unwelcome surprise when he returned home on Tuesday. He found an unknown woman had gone inside without his permission and was sitting there drinking coffee. Brewer police were dispatched to North Main Street for a welfare check and found 55-year-old Darcel Howard inside drinking coffee. Howard was taken into custody without incident. And during the investigation, officers learned that she had 4 sets of active bail conditions for prior arrests for similar behavior, including recently when a Bangor man returned to his home to find her sleeping in his bed. Bangor police were also contacted, and they told them that they were looking for her in connection with an unrelated case. Howard is now being charged with criminal trespass and violation of conditions of release.
Well, since the 1970s, there have been mercury containment sediment at the bottom of the Penobscot River, something one organization in Orrington is looking to change.
Our Calvin White has the story.
A project to clean up mercury in the Penobscot River has begun. In a small cove in Orrington, workers are spreading a layer of sand over contaminated sediment. Organized by the Penobscot Estuary Mercury Remediation Trust, the project will cap 6.3 acres of river contaminated by the former Holtrachem plant from 1967 to 2000. The Remediation Trust hopes this strategy, one they have implemented across the country, can lessen the health dangers caused by the mercury contamination.
Everything that we are doing here has been done successfully in other places, but the Penobscot River has a unique set of challenges, and we want to make sure that the capping remedy will be as effective here as it has been other places.
The project started with a surveying of the environment. Then, following the actual laying of sand, there will be a multi-year project monitoring effects on the area's plants, fish, and other wildlife.
We also want to make sure that the cap is stable, that it will stay in place over time, and that the natural resources that have been affected temporarily by construction will recover after the construction is complete.
Representatives from the trust will be in Picnic Park on Wednesday to answer any questions the public may have about the project. According to the trust, the project should wrap up around Labor Day weekend, and if all implementation goes well, there are plans to expand the project further along the Penobscot River. The project comes as the Maine DEP initiated a legal action against Mallinckrodt, the owners of the former Holtrachem plant, for cleanup failure. According to the DEP, no progress has been made on the site since 2023. In Orrington, Calvin White, ABC7, and Fox 22 News.
The mental health struggles expectant and new mothers face have gained national attention in recent weeks as the high-profile case of Lindsay Clancy unfolds.
The trial has shed light on the most devastating possible outcomes of postpartum mental health issues. Our Alex Schley has more on the resources available here in Penobscot County.
1 in 5 women are affected by prenatal mood disorder, 75% of which go undiagnosed.
And suicide is the second leading cause of death in postpartum women.
According to Bangor Health, only substance abuse and related issues claim more lives.
There's no way of knowing if it's going to happen to you or not.
Health experts say despite the uncertainty, you can still be proactive.
Best course of action is to become educated. The more you know, the more you're going to recognize, the more signs you're going to pick up on.
After COVID, a group of nurses from Bangor Health recognized a gap in support for postpartum parents. Those nurses now lead a program called Cookies and Milk.
It's not a rigid program where we sit around in a circle and take turns sharing. It's more of a casual, come as you are, grab a cookie, meet new friends.
A weekly gathering designed to give new and expectant mothers a place to connect.
Moms tell us on a very regular basis things like, this group saved me from postpartum depression. I don't know what I would do without this group, this clinic. Your words rang through my head over and over when I was at home, and it kept me from spiraling.
Just this week, the group moved from the Bangor Public Library to Northern Light so it could have more space. And the nurses with Bangor Health remind folks that there's always hope and there's always help. In Bangor, Alex Schley for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, for more information about Nurse and Cookies, as well as other local support and resources available to expectant and new mothers, you can go to foxbangor.com. If you or someone you know needs help, you can also text or call the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988.
The important thing to know is they are not alone.
Absolutely.
There's lots of help available.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, the time now is 6:13. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, Maine businesses that rely on trade across the border are already bracing for the impact.
We'll have a story, but first another look at that forecast. A beautiful day ahead today, mostly sunny skies, high temperatures around 83 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight, the lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow, also a nice day, partly cloudy and windy, highs near 81. We'll be right back.
Need a driveway paved or an entire road surfaced? Give Eaton Paving and Excavation a call. Eaton Paving offers a full line of excavation packages, from new home projects to new and replacement septics and driveways. We also install new shoreland and do shoreland repairs. Our operators have more than 75 years combined experience, and we have been delivering quality, professional service for nearly 3 decades. We strive to exceed your expectations. Give us a call today at 207-348-5630 or visit us at eatonpaving.com.
30 years living in Washington changes someone. I feel like politicians should be working for us, not getting rich from stock trading. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins wants to keep it so that senators can play the stock market, making millions of dollars. While the rest of the state is struggling, it's just wrong. We need to tell Susan Collins to stop the congressional stock trading.
On the pavement, Sunday, October 4th at the Sea Dog on the Bangor waterfront. Register now at purpleirisfoundation.com or scan the QR code. Start a fundraiser, win prizes. Sign up by September 1st and get a free t-shirt. Goodie bags for the first 200 people to register. Cancer survivors sign up for free. Proceeds support those battling cancer in Maine. Pound the Pavement, sponsored by the Sea Dog, Summit America, Peter and Deb Brontis, Eventful Maine, ABC7, and Fox 22.
A sad discovery was made along the coast in Phippsburg. That's where a dead baby humpback whale was found in the waters of New Meadows River. An organization called Marine Mammals of Maine says the recently deceased animal was located on Monday. They say they've received numerous calls in recent months about large whales close to shore this year. The calf's body was towed to shore where a necropsy was conducted on Saturday. It was about 6 to 9 months old and was emaciated with very little muscle or fat.
Oh, poor little whale.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, the trade war between the U.S. and Canada escalated, with Canada making good on its promise to retaliate. Canadian leaders announced tariffs ranging from 15 to 50% on billions of dollars worth of American goods, including agricultural products, appliances, and construction materials.
Sam DeCoste reports here in Maine, businesses that rely on trade across the border are now bracing for the impact.
Those tariffs will have real consequences for Canadian workers.
Of course, it's going to have a huge impact on us, and it already has.
Concerns mounting across North America that new sets of tariffs could milk the economy dry.
They're not getting enough money for their milk to survive.
Michael Knight owns Smiling Hill Farm and Hillside Lumber. It's been a family-owned business since 1720. He says increasing costs make it difficult enough already to make a living on the dairy farm.
My father raised 6 kids on milking 48 cows. My mother did not work, and you were able to do so. Today, you cannot milk 48 cows and make a living by any means.
Smiling Hill makes its own fresh bottled milk and sells it domestically. Knight believes the farm can sustain itself without trading over the border, but he's concerned that tariffs will squeeze Hillside Lumber. Knight says limited manufacturing in Maine and increased costs of Canadian construction materials will put a strain on the state's lumber industry.
That's going to put their demand up, and with demand goes the cost. So with the cost of building a house is so high right now, it's just an added, unnecessary added expense.
In total, Canada's tariffs will cover about 6% of the goods imported from the U.S. That's in response to the U.S. putting tariffs on 5% of Canadian goods. Canada calls this a dollar-for-dollar response. Knight remains optimistic he can weather the storm, but says small local businesses like his need support from the public to make it through.
We lived through world wars and pandemics and everything else. We should be able to weather through anything now.
And Canada's tariffs will go into effect on September 8th. The country has also threatened cutting off some exports to the U.S., including electricity. We'll be hearing more about that in the weeks ahead.
Definitely.
Meanwhile, we have a heads up for drivers today. The Maine DOT is closing the temporary bridge next to the Llewellyn Estes Bridge that collapsed up in Old Town. They say it is part of a thorough physical inspection of the site and the remaining structure. Maine DOT says the daytime closure will allow personnel to safely access and inspect the site as the investigation continues. They say other closures may also be needed. Traffic will be rerouted along the established and previously used detour route while they're doing that inspection.
Well, the time now is 6:19. After the break, folks in Gary, Indiana still left with no power after 2 weeks. We'll have the latest on that ahead.
Plus, Dolly Parton has passed away at the age of 80. We'll recount her Bangor performances and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
First, it was Graham Plattner's problems with women.
And now, Troy Jackson.
According to a police report, Troy Jackson kicked down a door, punched a man in the face, and pushed his ex-girlfriend. As state Senate president, there are multiple reports of Jackson yelling and screaming at women. Jackson even threw a water bottle at one woman.
Make no mistake, this is an attempt to intimidate and control women.
Maine deserves better than Troy Jackson.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Do you take propane tank?
Anything goes.
How about cardboard?
Anything goes.
How about old rug?
Yeah, anything goes.
So this too?
Furniture removal, basements, garages, attics, hoarder houses. It doesn't matter here at Anything Goes Junk Removal. Anything goes. Well, almost anything.
Dolly Parton has passed away suddenly at the age of 80 after a brief battle with cancer. And this morning, the tributes are already flooding in.
Here's ABC's Danny New.
This morning, the world continues to celebrate and honor the life, legacy, and music of Dolly Parton, who has passed away at the age of 80. On social media, her 9 to 5 co-star Jane Fonda writing, "More than anyone I have ever known, Dolly will always be with us." Step on toes, it all goes. And longtime friend Billy Ray Cyrus, who asked Parton to be his daughter Miley's godmother when she was born, sharing, "Dolly recently sent me a beautiful message telling me she loved me with her whole heart. I will always love her in the same way." Please, please, please. In addition, we are hearing from many of the younger stars whom she also inspired. Sabrina Carpenter, who released this Please, Please, Please duet with the Queen of Country last year, writing, "The only thing I could say after we met was she really is an angel walking the earth."
Jolene, Jolene.
And another queen, Beyonce, who both covered and featured Dolly Parton on her Grammy-winning album, Cowboy Carter, sharing to her website, "I'm honored that I had the privilege to work with you. I will treasure that forever," and refer to her as a North Star.
So the FCC won't let me be.
In fact, we're even hearing from artists who never worked with Dolly or even met her. Rapper Eminem shared this note he received from Parton after his induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in which she wrote, "No matter how complex your world may be, just know you are very special and touch people in ways you don't even know." On Tuesday, many gathered near Parton's statue in her hometown, Sevierville, Tennessee. This included even some of her youngest fans who said they got to know Dolly through her nonprofit Imagination Library, which sent them free books every month. Since 1995, Imagination Library has sent out more than 300 million free books.
I got her books when I was young, and I loved it when my mom would read them to me, and I just remembered receiving them in the mail, and I loved it.
And Dolly started Imagination Library as a tribute to her father, who could not read or write. Before his passing, she said he told her it was, quote, "the most important thing she had ever done." In New York, for ABC News, I'm Danny New.
Well, in 1969, a young Dolly Parton made her debut here in the Queen City, performing at the Bangor Auditorium. Among those in attendance that night was Orlando Frati, a Bangor native and photography enthusiast. Frati only had 12 frames on his roll of film that night. One of them would capture a moment that he would hold on to for the next 50 years. Of a young Dolly Parton. Frati's son, also named Orlando, says when his late father recounted that night, he said he knew that she would be famous someday. In 2016, Parton returned to Bangor for her Pure and Simple tour. Frati contacted Parton's team and got to meet the woman that he had photographed all those years ago. Frati showed the Queen of Country the photo, which she later signed as well.
What a sweet, sweet story there. Well, and in lieu of flowers, Dolly's family asked for donations to be made to Dolly Parton's Imagination Library at www.imaginationlibrary.com. Speaking of her pivotal literacy program, the impact of Imagination Library was felt across the country, including right here in Maine. Each child enrolled in the program receives one book per month from birth to the age of 5 at no cost to their family. In 2022, the state legislature approved $200,000 to expand that program statewide. And in 2023, 4,500 Maine kids were receiving books through Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. Dolly Parton touched scores of lives and here in Maine helped bolster literacy and broaden horizons for Maine kids.
I was a big fan. What a nice person, and you know, was a wonderful performer, but a nice person as well. You know, my dad was in a movie with her back in the 80s.
Oh, that's cool.
Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. My dad played a reporter in it, and one of the things he talked about was he talked about the various stars in the show, and he says Dolly Parton was very nice. Just what you see on TV, you get in person as well.
That's what I've heard from many people, and she always gave back.
Yeah, kind of sad.
It is. Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Let's check out the visibilities this morning, and the focus is on Washington County, where we do have half-mile visibility being reported this morning, so it is going to be difficult to see for a while. Weather Service acknowledging now with a dense fog advisory that is up until about 9 a.m. So if you're in these areas, definitely be noteful of that until the fog does lift, which it will today, as we will have plenty of sunshine. No advisories in effect along the coast. Wave heights are behaving itself with around 2-foot wave heights being observed, while further out towards sea a little bit higher at around 3 to 6 foot wave heights, again being observed farther out towards sea. Now on land, we've had some rain tracking from the west and going toward the east, kind of a southwest to northeast direction, but kind of by barely. In general, more of a west to east. But either way, though, high pressure is moving in, and it's going to be a beautiful day with lots of sunshine, a few passing clouds, though, but in general, it's going to be a mostly sunny sky today. Get outside and enjoy the nice weather. This is high pressure right here, where you see all this nothing, so definitely get outside and enjoy things. A little bit of energy moving across parts of the upper Midwest, but again, for us, it's going to be nice outside. So we're going to lose the fog out there. Lots of sunshine for us today, a few passing clouds from time to time. Later on tonight, we'll have more fog, some clouds moving in as well. And then once we head towards your Thursday, again, we'll lose any fog. We are going to watch for a little bit of precipitation as we head towards Thursday night. Some storms possible. Some of that could linger into early Friday morning. As we do push forward at times, again, the wind will have some gusty winds along the coast. As for us today, not too bad. It's tomorrow, though, we will have to watch for some more gusty winds. So for today, here we are, mostly sunny, nice out there, low 80s for the high, west wind at about 5 miles per hour. All right, tonight we do have a partly cloudy sky, areas of dense fog, lows in the upper 50s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, windy out there, low 80s for the high, south wind gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. And your extended forecast for your Friday, showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid-70s, and then upper 70s coming up for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. And then Sunday, here we are, mostly cloudy with highs in the low 80s.
I'm RJ Decker. I'm a private investigator from South Florida. The hotter it gets, the more trouble that comes my way.
Just heard you were shot at with a rocket launcher.
Well, it missed.
The Piscataquis Valley Fair, an old-time country fair featuring farms, a tractor pull, demolition derby, pig scramble, and more. Fun rides in the Midway, daily and nightly entertainment. The Piscataquis Valley Fair, something for everyone, August 27th through the 30th in Dover Foxcroft.
ABC 7, Fox 22. The place we call home, telling Maine stories wherever you roam. From sunrise shores to forests of pine, hard work, strong hearts, values that shine. From old towns to harbors, back roads to ocean blue. Neighbors helping neighbors in all that we do. Through storms and clear skies, day after day, we're here with the stories that matter in Maine. From mountains to sea, standing strong and true.
watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Now to concerns about the measles after the first reported measles-related deaths of the year.
In the U.S., here's ABC's Lionel Moyes.
This morning, a new call for Health Secretary RFK Jr. to resign as a measles outbreak turns deadly, with 2 deaths now reported in Pennsylvania, the first measles deaths in the U.S. this year and the first in Pennsylvania in 3 decades. Both people were unvaccinated.
There's real-life consequences to spreading misinformation.
Governor Josh Shapiro says vaccine exemptions have tripled in the last decade. He says he spoke with Secretary Kennedy.
I made very clear that his actions and the rhetoric that's coming from this administration are having a negative impact.
The CDC saying the MMR vaccine provides the most effective protection against measles and helps prevent its spread. While Kennedy has at times advised parents to vaccinate children, his past comments to the Amish community of Pennsylvania have resurfaced.
What is the cure for measles? Cure for measles is chicken soup and vitamin A.
A measles outbreak also declared in Maryland, where Senator Angela Alsobrooks posted RFK Jr. must resign or be fired. At least 14 new cases in Maryland are among people unvaccinated, and more than 2,700 cases have been reported nationwide, the highest since 1991. Lionel Moyes, ABC News, New York.
Well, in other news this morning, prosecutors calling their final witnesses to the stand in their rebuttal case in the Lindsay Clancy trial. Forensic psychologist Kirk Helbrum was one of them, telling jurors he believes the Massachusetts mother should be held responsible for killing her 3 children. He testified that after interviewing Clancy for 3 days for the prosecution's case, he doesn't believe Clancy was experiencing postpartum psychosis at the time of the killings. Clancy's defense attorney trying to cast doubt on Helbrum's evaluation, highlighting his lack of experience with treating postpartum psychosis. If found guilty on 3 murder charges, Clancy faces life in prison without parole, and if she is found not criminally responsible, she will be sent to a state mental health facility. Closing arguments are slated for today.
Well, now to the latest on the situation in Indiana, where thousands are stuck without power 2 weeks after a severe storm. Indiana's governor now calling for an investigation. Thousands of residents in Gary and parts of northwest Indiana still struggling without power after a violent storm ravaged the area 2 weeks ago. NIPSCO, the power company in the area, says the storm caused extensive damage, but that they remain committed to restoring power safely and as quickly as possible, and will fully cooperate with any investigation that's launched.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, we'll have an update on the tiny home park in Bangor.
That and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Here are the facts about Susan Collins and Medicaid. Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance Donald Trump's Medicaid cuts.
Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance the bill.
Now, thousands more Mainers are expected to lose their Medicaid coverage. Hospitals and clinics are shutting down, all to give massive tax breaks for billionaires. Look up the facts yourself and tell Susan Collins to stop voting for Trump's healthcare cuts.
Hi folks, Joe Namath here. Did you know that I wear hearing aids? I was wearing those expensive hearing aids for years, and I didn't know any better until a good friend of mine told me about MD Hearing. I thought the price was too good to be true, but I bought a pair anyway. No doctor visit, no prescription, no hassle. It was easy. When they showed up, I called and spoke to Sandy, one of their audiologists, to make sure the hearing aids fit and work the way I need it. And they do that for everyone, not just me.
Call now and get 2 rechargeable Neo hearing aids for just $297 with a free portable charging case and free shipping. The rechargeable Neo is nearly invisible with its tiny in-the-ear canal design. And you can get 2 rechargeable Neo hearing aids with a 45-day risk-free trial, free shipping, and free lifetime U.S.-based support for only $297.
I started hearing things I haven't heard in a long time. I didn't realize how bad my hearing was until I got the hearing aids.
I've never had a better pair of hearing aids. I wear them all the time, and I'm even wearing them now. Call my friends at MD Hearing and get my favorite over-the-counter hearing aids for you.
Call now and get 2 rechargeable Neo hearing aids for just $297 with a free portable charging case and free shipping.
Call 800-604-1487. 800-604-1487.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. Today is Wednesday, August 26th, 2026, and this is also Women's Equality Day.
This day champions the ongoing fight for gender equality. It commemorates the 1920 ratification of the 19th Amendment, which secures a woman's right to vote. It reminds us of the hurdles overcome by heroic women who face violence and discrimination to propel the women's movement forward. But even today, the wage gap between men and women continues, and gender-based discrimination still plagues workplaces and business transactions.
Yeah, it is getting a little bit better out there, but still a long way to go. I have 2 daughters, so I think it's a big issue for me, too. I want things to be equal as well.
Totally.
All right, let's get to some history. It was on this day back in 1842. The first fiscal year was established by Congress to begin on July 1st. In 1939, the first televised Major League Baseball games were broadcast on an experimental television station in New York City. It was a doubleheader between the Cincinnati Reds and the Brooklyn Dodgers. At the time, television was still in its infancy. Few people owned TV, and regular program did not yet exist. So that was a pretty cool thing. It wasn't like until the 1940s where there really was actually started to get some more TV stations. And in 1958, Alaskans went to the polls to overwhelmingly vote in favor of statehood.
And in 1978, the soundtrack for the movie Grease earned its second #1 hit. In 1985, 13-year-old AIDS patient Ryan White began attending school in Indiana by using a telephone hookup from his home. School officials had barred White from attending classes in person because of his illness. It came at a time when many still didn't understand the disease, and White became a national poster child for the illness here in the U.S. And lastly, in 2016, NFL quarterback Colin Kaepernick stirred controversy when he remained seated during the national anthem. The silent protest was his way of protesting racial injustice in the U.S.
Caused a lot of waves,
It
too.
did.
Yeah. All right, for birthdays today, they include actor Macaulay Culkin. He's all grown up. He's 46 years old today. Comedian John Mulaney, he's 44. And actress Melissa McCarthy, she is 56. 2 comedians and another young actor who's all grown up there.
Yeah. Good diverse group today. We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, let's get into things this morning. We have a small area in parts of Washington County under a dense fog advisory, and that will last until about 9 a.m. later on this morning. Some reduced visibility occurring in those areas, and we can see that right there with the observations. Definitely down to about a half mile or less, so definitely be careful if you are traveling in these areas. Everyone else looking really good as we do start things off this morning. Meanwhile, again, we had some rain yesterday as it tracks off to the east, so we are now done with the rainfall, and it is going to be a beautiful day out there with lots of sunshine, and it's going to be awesome. So get outside and really enjoy the nice weather that we do have with high pressure now moving in from the southwest and going toward the north and east, and it is going to be hanging around for a little while. So futurecast pushing forward, we're losing the fog, lots of sunshine, a few clouds out there, but not a big deal, with more fog and some clouds on the way later on tonight. Your hourly forecast pushing forward, here's what we have. Lots of sunshine with temperatures warming into the low 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
All right, thank you, Devin. Well, still to come here this morning, Jack Webb with sports.
Don't go away.
No visit to Down East Maine is complete unless you have your picture taken with Wilbur the Lobster. Ruth and Wimpy's restaurant in Hancock is always doing it upright for lunch and dinner with huge portions and wimpy prices. Ruth and Wimpy's restaurant, 792 US Highway 1.
Fall into amazing savings during Flex Deals Fall Factory Authorized Sale. Rake in serious deals on all styles and models. Choose from our huge selection of fabric and leather, reclining and stationary furniture, including Flex Deals Latitude, South Haven, and Wynwood collections, and all crafted with Flex Deals exclusive lifetime warranted Blue Steel spring. Prices are falling, so hurry in today for cool savings. Fall in love at Flex Deals Factory Authorized Sale.
Dorsey Furniture, Route 1A Holden, live beautifully, my friends.
Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You're at an open casket funeral. You notice deceased pants were unzipped. What you gonna do?
I would write a note.
You want him to read it?
Family Feud.
Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7.
No visit to Down East Maine is complete unless you have your picture taken with Wilbur the Lobster. Ruth and Wimpy's Restaurant in Hancock is always doing it upright for lunch and dinner with huge portions and wimpy prices. Ruth and Wimpy's Restaurant, 792 U.S. Highway 1.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. It's game week for the Maine football team, and the Black Bears are spending the week preparing for Thursday night's bout with Towson University.
Black Bears football kicks off this Thursday.
We're all excited to go out there and showcase what we've been working towards.
Just like I keep saying, like, we're just so ready to go, man. Like, we're so excited to get our hands on somebody, so we're just ready to go.
In fact, Maine has the honor of leading off the entire Division I college football season.
That fires me up. Couldn't be more excited to be a part of it and ready to get football going again. Us really kicking off the college football season is awesome, you know, and great exposure for our program and our conference.
Things will begin a bit differently for the Black Bears this season as they face a conference opponent in Towson University right off rip.
That's huge, starting off with a conference opponent. I mean, we know how big of a game this is. We know the stakes that are at hand, and you know, it's awesome to get the year started like that.
Conference game or not, Maine views the importance of a W all the same.
Every week we still attacking the same way, want to know mindset, and just because the conference game does, it means a lot, but we just still keep the same mindset, go our process and do the same thing.
On Thursday, newly named starting quarterback Eddie Bueller will see his very first Division I snaps.
I'm fired up. I wouldn't want it any other way. Good, very meaningful game to start the year, and I'm ready to go.
Head coach Jordan Stevens knows that Bueller is up to the task and has been impressed with how he's handled his new role.
I think he's ready. He's been preparing. He's constantly watching tape, meet with our coaches. Love how he's carried himself since we made that decision. He's carried himself in a really mature way.
Maturity has been a theme for the entire team this offseason, and Stevens is ready to see how his guys respond to the interconference challenge they face on Thursday night.
This whole year, since last season ending is about maturity, and want to see us have more resilience and mental toughness and perseverance through whatever comes our way.
Kickoff is set for Thursday at 6 p.m. In Orono, Max Sturm, ABC 7 and Fox 22 Sports.
Thank you for that, Max. Staying with football, for the first time in history, some NFL players are considering heading back to school to play college football again. Fox Business correspondent Jeff Flock is at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia with more.
Crazy times these days in college football when you can make sometimes more money playing in college than you can in the NFL. Consequently, some players want to go back. Case in point, Daquan Wright. He was a tight end last year at Ole Miss, was not drafted but was signed by the Eagles here in Philadelphia, got cut and then signed by the Browns, got cut again and then said, I want to go back to playing football. And he got a judge, even though the NCAA doesn't like it, to rule in his favor. A judge in Louisiana, by the way, ruled for him, and that's curious because he'll be playing for LSU. And the coach, Lane Kiffin, you remember him. Mr. Kiffin was the coach at Ole Miss, got his team into the college football playoffs last year, but then abandoned the team because he got a better deal at LSU for more money. He says the system is definitely broken, but don't blame him and don't blame the kids.
Because of these rulings, they're either going to play
for you, or they're going to play somewhere else around the country. So we've made a decision to recruit them, like probably most people are.
The reaction from college football, not necessarily positive. Paul Feinbaum, the commentator on the SEC network, says college football has officially plunged into the abyss. We have never been in a place like this before. The head coach at Oregon, Dan Lanning, says if you invite somebody back to your team now, that means you have to kick somebody else off. I don't think that's fair. Todd Monken, the head coach of the Browns, the man who cut Daquan Wright, says, and I quote him now, "Man, ain't that stuff crazy." I'm not sure he said stuff there, but whatever he said, Lee Steinberg, the legendary sports agent, agrees with him.
Now, you understand the motivation for the player is that as opposed to being cut by NFL teams, he can come back, be a big star at LSU, get NIL dollars, which will pay him vastly more than what he would have made in the pros.
Steinberg, by the way, was the, in part, inspiration for that movie Jerry Maguire. You remember the line from that movie, "Show me the money." Steinberg says that was about show me the money in pro football. Now it's show me the money in college football. At Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, I'm Jeff Flock with the Fox Business Network.
Patriots Vice President of Player Personnel Elliott Wolf speaking on the Kayshon Boutte trade Tuesday afternoon. The Patriots traded wideout Kayshon Boutte to the Texans for second-year safety Jaden Reed and a 2028 seventh-round pick. Many fans wondering why, as Boutte had become a fan favorite given his big catch ability. Wolf shined light on that during his press conference on Tuesday.
There were some different conversations that we had with different teams throughout the league, and again, the opportunity to acquire Jalen Reed for a player that Houston wanted is something that we decided to pull the trigger on. We feel really good about our receiver group. We have guys that can play in multiple positions. They all really complement each other well. And obviously, when we acquired Romeo and AJ, you know, something had to give.
For now, it's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Make this the summer event at Thornton Brothers in Lincoln. Looking for a truck built to go the distance? Drive home a new Ram truck backed by an available 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Ready for adventure? Check out our selection of new Jeep Gladiators and Wranglers, built for wherever the road or trail takes you. Need room for the whole family? We've got a great selection of new Chrysler Pacifica vans, packed with comfort, versatility, and style. This summer, make the drive, we'll make the deal. Visit Thornton Brothers in Lincoln today.
At China Walk on Broadway in Bangor, we're serving up your Chinese favorites. Our food is delicious, our staff is friendly, and our service is fast. Open Tuesday through Sunday, call ahead, order online, or just stop by. Enjoy our indoor dining for the full experience, or get takeout that the whole family will enjoy. We'll make sure your cravings are satisfied. China Walk on Broadway in Bangor, where tradition meets flavor.
It's time to take on summer projects, and Ford has the right vehicles for the job, any job, because Ford has designed them to handle anything you can throw at them. No wonder Ford is #1 in commercial vehicles for 41 consecutive years. So come on, New England, let's get to work with the hardest working vehicles around. And now, get 0% APR for 36 months on Super Duty and Transit Van, with 0 down, 0 payments for up to 90 days, plus a 2-year premium maintenance plan.
Welcome back, everyone. In 2024, Randall Park in Bangor became Maine's first tiny house community.
Our Sam Miller tells us that since then, community reception has been positive.
Randall Park's tiny house community off Hammond Street in Bangor started accepting applications in November of 2024 and was built with the goal of addressing the statewide housing crisis by trying to put as many roofs over as many heads as possible.
So this was I call it all the time a real solution to a real problem.
44 tenants currently occupy the 30 houses that the park holds. Each unit is 320 square feet and includes a single bedroom, bathroom, a kitchen, and heat pump. Co-owner and developer Louis Morrison highlighted what makes the park appealing to those looking for a place to lay their heads.
You've got your own driveway, you've got your own roof, you don't share a wall with anybody, you're not above anybody, you're not below anybody. It's a home, it really is. It's the same price of an apartment. You know, the price is basically what the average 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom apartment in town is costing right now. It is for a lot of people, and that's proven with the low turnover and the people that call me every day. Hey, have you got one open? Hey, have you got one open?
Renting a home is around $1,300. Water and sewage is included, while tenants pay for electric and internet. Tenant Rebecca Kelly has lived in Randall Park for over a year and says the peace, convenience, and community that the park offers is wonderful.
It's peaceful, it's very quiet. It may not be as close to the school as some of the other options were, but it's very convenient to a lot of other things. And I feel like, everyone here is pretty friendly.
Morrison says he would like to do another similar project in the area and scale it to have even more units. In Bangor, Sam Miller, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, it looks really nice, too.
Yeah, maybe they can get some more in the area.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Devin Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Rogan's Memorials. Give the gift of comfort through thoughtful planning with locations in Bangor, Bucksport, and Lincoln. Alrighty, here we go. Let's check out the visibilities this morning, and the focus is on Washington County, where we do have half-mile visibility being reported this morning, so it is going to be difficult to see for a while. Weather Service acknowledging that with a dense fog advisory that is up until about 9 a.m. So if you're in these areas, definitely be noteful of that until the fog does lift, which it will today, as we will have plenty of sunshine. No advisories in effect along the coast. Wave heights are behaving itself with around 2-foot wave heights being observed, while further out towards sea a little bit higher at around 3 to 6 foot wave heights, again being observed farther out towards sea. Now on land, we've had some rain tracking from the west and going toward the east, kind of a southwest to northeast direction, but kind of by barely. In general, more of a west to east. But either way, though, high pressure is moving in, and it's going to be a beautiful day with lots of sunshine, a few passing clouds, though, but in general, it's going to be a mostly sunny sky today. Get outside and enjoy the nice weather. This is high pressure right here, where you see all this nothing, so definitely get outside and enjoy things. A little bit of energy moving across parts of the upper Midwest, but again, for us, it's going to be nice outside. So we're going to lose the fog out there. Lots of sunshine for us today. A few passing clouds from time to time. Later on tonight, we'll have more fog, some clouds moving in as well. And then once we head towards your Thursday, again, we'll lose any fog. We are going to watch for a little bit of precipitation as we head towards Thursday night. Some storms possible. Some of that could linger into early Friday morning. As we do push forward at times, again, the wind will have some gusty winds along the coast. As for us today, not too bad. It's tomorrow, though, we will have to watch for some more gusty winds. So for today, here we are, mostly sunny, nice out there, low 80s for the high, west wind at about 5 miles per hour. All right, tonight we do have a partly cloudy sky, areas of dense fog, lows in the upper 50s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, windy out there, low 80s for the high, south wind gusting up to about 30 miles per hour. And your extended forecast for your Friday, showers and thunderstorms with highs in the mid-70s, and then upper 70s coming up for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. And then Sunday, here we are, mostly cloudy with highs in the low 80s.
Augusta politician Troy Jackson. While his family cashed in, you paid the price. As state Senate president, he voted repeatedly for higher taxes. Troy Jackson voted to allow cities and towns to drastically raise your property taxes, hurting our seniors and working families the most. And Jackson supports raising taxes on your Social Security, making Mainers pay more while his family cashed in. We can't afford Troy Jackson in the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
As Senate President, Troy Jackson counted votes, and his son counted cash. Jackson's lobbyist son raked in almost $200,000 from special interests, and Jackson flipped his positions. One polluter wanted to stop a bill cracking down on emissions, so they paid Jackson's son, and with Jackson in charge, the bill went up in smoke. Troy Jackson's family got paid. We got played. Coincidence or corruption? You decide. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Commercial vehicles can be dangerous, and they usually carry big insurance policies. So whether you're hurt by a landscaping truck like this, a work van like this, or a big rig like this, we know commercial vehicle accidents, and we know how to get you the big money you may deserve. If any commercial vehicle hurts you, call the twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial vehicle? Call the twos. We win for you. Call 222-2222.
Let Hellman's Bakery put a smile on your face with their tasty offerings of breads, baked beans, lasagna, tuche and turkey pies, fruit and cream pies, wedding and specialty cakes, pastries, and more. Hillman's, your hometown bakery, Fairfield.
Save money, live better, and have fun doing it? This week on GMA, the answer is yes. From cooking up dinner for 4 for under $10 to taking one trip to Costco and getting 60 meals out of it. This week, we're money maxing for you on GMA.
The remains of a 16th century hospital were unveiled in Peru's capital city on Tuesday. Archaeologists discovered walls, floors, and human skeletons just a few blocks from the presidential palace. The hospital had reportedly been used to care for 6 sailors who docked at Pacific ports when Peru was a Spanish colony. The archaeologists coordinating the evacuations, or the excavations, telling reporters the remains were thought to have been lost, but had been found next to a church where Mass was held for the sick. The excavations, I should say, but again, it reads evacuations.
It does say evacuations. I'll give you that.
Located the entrance to the church and 2 sidewalls made of stone, brick, and adobe. You never know what's under your feet.
Peru is kind of the world capital for that stuff,
is
too.
It? Yeah.
It is, yeah. Well, meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made a new furry friend yesterday. Zelensky being gifted an American Pit Bull Terrier puppy named Freya during a meeting with former U.S. boxer Terrence Crawford in Kyiv. Crawford giving the puppy to Zelensky following the Ukrainian anti-ballistic missile defense project. The puppy's grandfather lived through the Russian occupation of Bucha. He was rescued after the city was liberated and currently resides in Houston.
Cute,
Very
little
cute.
puppy dog.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time that we have left for this hour, but you can join us for the second hour of Good Morning Maine. That's next on Fox 22.
Have a great day, everyone.
Summer's fading, leaves will turn. Every day's a chance to learn. Backpacks packed and sneakers tied. Big dreams waiting, full of pride. From Calais to Greenville, across our towns and by the sea. Bangor, Brewer, Belfast too. Every morning starts brand new. It's back to school in Maine again. Seeing classmates making friends. The school bus rolls, the day begins. Adventure waits around the bend. Parents checking what to wear. Cool or rainy will help prepare. School day forecast, local news too. ABC 7 and Fox 22. School bells ringing, pencils sharp, music, science, reading, art, from Ellsworth up to Old Town. Smiles are shining all around. Pack the lunch and grab your coat. Check the forecast before you go. Every morning, come what may. ABC 7 and Fox 22 help start the day. It's back to school in Maine again. Dreaming big and making friends. Here's to a safe and happy year for Maine families far and near.
God
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers Central and Eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters turn scrap into cash.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Good morning, America, and we are going to celebrate Dolly Parton, a true American original.
More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, the Secretary of State's office is preparing for another legal battle with the Trump administration amid mail-in voting restrictions.
We'll have the story coming up. Plus, we'll learn about local resources here in Penobscot County for those going through postpartum.
And also this morning, yet another heads up for drivers who are traveling through Old Town today. We'll have the details coming up.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. Today we'll have all the day's news, including the latest up in Old Town. They're doing some inspections on the bridge up there.
Yep.
And some folks will be running into
Rerouted.
some detours.
Yeah.
So we'll have the details. At least it's going to be a beautiful day for the work going on up there today. Sunny skies, temperatures up in the low 80s. Go to the beach if